Hey there, lovely souls! If you're new, welcome to my channel, Magnetize Official. I truly believe that our paths have crossed here on YouTube for a reason. It's as if we are stars in the same constellation, drawn together by an invisible but undeniable thread of energy. So, thank you for being here, for sharing your light, and for being part of this ever-evolving journey. It's been a while since I've done a podcast-style video. Recently, I felt more guided toward tarot readings. Like a river naturally carving its path, my energy has been flowing in that direction. But when I first created this space, I often shared more podcast-style content, diving deep into reflections, insights, and spiritual downloads. And lately, I've felt a strong nudge from my guides to bring that back, to merge the two. Readings infused with heartfelt discussions, intuitive messages, and profound energetic shifts. Today, I feel like we're weaving together a little bit of everything. I'll likely be pulling some cards, tuning into the intuitive downloads that are streaming through, and reading into the energies surrounding us. But more than anything, I want to honor what I've been sensing, an immense, almost tidal wave of emotion from the Twin Flame Collective. If you are on this path, you know that it isn't just about romance or longing. It's about soul expansion, about peeling back the layers of illusion and stepping into the raw, unfiltered truth of who you are. This journey is a mirror, reflecting both your brightest light and your deepest shadows, asking you to embrace them both with love. Right now, I sense that many of you are going through a pivotal transformation, almost like the shedding of an old skin. Some of you may be releasing labels and expectations around the twin flame connection, stepping away from rigid ideas of how this journey should unfold. Instead, you are turning inward, realizing that the true twin flame reunion begins within you. It's as if the universe is gently guiding you back to yourself, whispering, "Your wholeness is not dependent on another. It has always been within you." For others, I feel there's a powerful undercurrent of healing energy moving through your connection. Maybe you're experiencing shifts in your dynamic with your twin flame in the 3D. Some of you may be feeling an unexpected sense of peace, a softening in the energy between you, or even direct communication coming in. It's like the storm clouds are parting just enough for the sun to peek through, revealing that healing is not only possible, but already in motion. And for some of you, there's a different kind of calling, a magnetic pull toward a soulmate connection. Perhaps you're discovering that love doesn't always have to be forged in fire. Sometimes it arrives like a gentle breeze, effortless and kind. There's no right or wrong path here, only the one that feels most aligned with your soul's highest truth, whether your journey leads you back to your twin flame or forward into a soulmate connection. The heart of the lesson remains the same. Love is meant to uplift, not confine, to expand, not restrict. Wherever you find yourself on this path, know that you are not alone. The energy right now is stirring deep realizations, heart awakenings, and moments of clarity that may feel like lightning striking the soul. But within this intensity, there is also grace. A divine orchestration is at play, and you are being guided, step by step, toward the love and fulfillment that is meant for you. So, let's dive in together. Let's explore what the cards reveal, what spirit wants to communicate, and what this moment in time is asking of us. However this message finds you, I trust that it will resonate in exactly the way you need it to. Reclaiming our power as creators of our own lives is like rediscovering an old, forgotten melody, one that has always belonged to us but was drowned out by the noise of the world. For those who resonate as the divine feminine, this process is even more profound because it requires peeling back layers of doubt, conditioning, and self-denial to truly hear the quiet but unwavering voice of intuition. Intuition is like an ancient compass, always pointing us toward our truth, but for many divine feminines, this compass has been tampered with, spun in circles by the hands of gaslighting, both in personal relationships and by a society that often teaches us to distrust our inner knowing. It's as if we were given a beautiful, intricate stained glass window through which to see the world, but over time, others painted over it with their own colours, telling us that what we saw wasn't real. Now, we are scraping away those false layers, letting the original colours shine through again. This journey back to self is deeply symbolic, and it's no coincidence that the image of a mirror comes through so strongly. The twin flame connection, in particular, is like standing in front of the clearest, most unfiltered mirror you've ever encountered. In most relationships, we see reflections of ourselves, but they are softened, distorted, or selectively framed by the other person's perspective. With a twin flame, there is no distortion, only truth. It's as if someone suddenly wiped away the fog from the glass, revealing every detail of who we are, even the parts we've spent years avoiding. This can be both breathtaking and terrifying, because it forces us to confront not only our strengths and divine beauty, but also the wounds, fears, and illusions we've carried. Many people walk through life believing they know themselves, but those of us who have undergone a spiritual awakening realize that before this journey, we were only skimming the surface of our true essence. Awakening is like diving into the depths of the ocean after spending years floating on the surface, unaware of the vast, intricate world that exists below. The deeper we go, the more we uncover hidden truths, forgotten dreams, and aspects of ourselves that had been shaped or suppressed by external forces. Society often tells us to be smaller, quieter, easier to understand. But now, we are learning that our soul was never meant to fit into those narrow spaces. The parts of us that were once deemed too much were actually our greatest gifts, our sensitivity, our boldness, our light. This is what makes the twin flame journey so much more than a physical connection. It's an energetic exchange, an unraveling, a revelation. It's the process of seeing ourselves as we were always meant to be, not through the eyes of the world, but through the eyes of the soul. And once we witness that truth, there is no going back. We are no longer the same. We are more. We are whole. Spiritual awakening, especially through the twin flame journey, can feel like stepping into a world where the sky is suddenly painted with colours you've never seen before. Colours so vivid and breathtaking that you wonder how you ever lived without them. But the challenge is, not everyone around you can see them. Some might tilt their heads, trying to understand what you're describing, while others might dismiss it entirely, insisting that what you're experiencing isn't real. This can be isolating, even disorienting, making you question your own perceptions. But just because someone else can't see the sky shifting doesn't mean it isn't happening. Their journey may simply be unfolding at a different pace, or perhaps their soul chose to focus on other aspects of the human experience. And that's okay. Every soul has its own rhythm, its own tempo in the grand symphony of existence. For those who resonate with this path, the depth of exploration is not just personal. It extends into the collective unconscious. It's like diving into a vast ocean, realizing that the waves you feel aren't just yours. They are part of a much larger tide, carrying the unspoken emotions, fears, and wisdom of generations before you. The journey of the twin flame is not just about love. It is about illumination, about shining a light on every shadow that has been buried deep within. This is why it can feel confusing, overwhelming, even surreal at times. When the veil lifts and you begin to perceive the world through an awakened lens, you may wonder if you're imagining things, if your intuition is leading you astray, or if this path is even real at all. But doubt is simply part of the process, a natural response to stepping beyond the limits of what you once believed was possible. For many divine feminines, this path feels like walking through a fog, where the next step is never fully visible until you take it. And yet, with every step forward, the mist slowly begins to clear. The confusion, the uncertainty, the moments of questioning your own sanity, all of it is part of the initiation. The twin flame journey isn't just about union with another person. It's about union with your own soul. And that union requires trust, patience, and the courage to keep moving forward even when nothing makes sense. Just as a caterpillar must surrender to the unknown before emerging as a butterfly, so, too, must you trust that the transformation you are undergoing is leading you exactly where you are meant to be. And here's the beautiful paradox. The more you surrender, the more clarity you receive. It may not come all at once, but in moments of deep stillness, in the quiet between your thoughts, you'll begin to feel it. A knowing, a recognition, an undeniable truth that you are not lost, you are not crazy, and you are exactly where you need to be. Something powerful is unfolding in your life, and even if you don't yet see it with your eyes, your soul already knows. Trust that. The mind can be both a guiding light and a tangled web, especially when navigating the complexities of an intense spiritual journey like the twin flame path. It's like standing in a room full of mirrors, where reflections shift and change depending on your perspective. Sometimes, these reflections bring clarity, helping you see yourself more fully, but other times they distort, creating illusions that feed confusion, doubt, and overthinking. The human mind naturally seeks logic and structure, but the twin flame experience defies traditional explanations. It is energy before it is logic, a knowing before it is proof. And that's what makes it so hard to grasp, because it exists in the unseen, in the spaces between thoughts, in the quiet moments where intuition speaks louder than words. For many divine feminines, this mental turbulence can feel like a battle between the heart and the mind. The heart knows the truth. It feels the connection, senses the energy, and recognizes the deeper meaning behind each synchronicity. But the mind, conditioned by a world that demands physical proof and tangible results, tries to dismantle that truth, dissecting it piece by piece until doubt creeps in. This internal tug-of-war can be exhausting, leading to a heightened state of awareness that sometimes spills over into anxiety, restlessness, or even moments of panic. It's as if you're standing in the middle of a storm, trying to make sense of the swirling winds around you. And yet, even in the chaos, there is something undeniable anchoring you, a deep soul recognition that refuses to be silenced. At times, this heightened sensitivity isn't just about your own emotions, it's about the energy you're absorbing from others. When you step into your divine feminine power, confident, radiant, unshaken, you naturally become a mirror for those around you. Some will be inspired by your light, drawn to your presence like moths to a flame. But others, especially those who are not ready to face their own shadows, may feel threatened by it. This is where external energy interference can come in. Whether it's from karmic influences, past connections, or even those who unconsciously project their fears onto you. It's like walking through a crowded room where some people smile and nod in admiration, while others glance sideways, uncomfortable with your glow. This resistance isn't a reflection of your worth, it's a reflection of their own inner struggles. Energetically, this can manifest as mental fog, intrusive thoughts, or an inexplicable sense of unease. Some divine feminines may even feel a heaviness in the third eye or crown chakra, as if an unseen force is trying to cloud their vision. But here's the truth. No one can truly dim your light unless you allow it. The stronger you stand in your authenticity, the less power external energies have over you. Think of yourself as a lighthouse, steady, unwavering, and rooted in purpose. No matter how strong the storm, your light continues to shine, guiding others while remaining untouchable by the waves, and in that steadiness, in that knowing, lies your true power. Trust it. Embracing your uniqueness is like standing on the edge of a vast ocean, knowing that while some will admire your courage and curiosity, others may shy away, unsettled by the depth of what they don't understand. Divine Feminine, your energy is not meant to blend in. It is meant to illuminate, to stand out, to challenge the status quo simply by existing in its purest form. When you fully embrace your essence, it acts as a mirror, reflecting both beauty and discomfort in those around you. Some will see their own hidden potential in your glow and feel inspired, while others, still entangled in karmic cycles, may feel exposed and react with resistance. This contrast isn't a sign that you're doing something wrong. Rather, it's proof that you are walking in alignment with your truth. The stars do not dim themselves when the night grows darker. They shine all the more brilliantly, unmoved by how the world perceives them. This is why certain energies around you may feel unsettled or even triggered by your presence. Imagine walking through a room where everyone has been sitting in the dark, their eyes accustomed to the shadows, and suddenly you switch on the light. At first, some might wince, overwhelmed by the brightness, while others might immediately feel relief, grateful for the clarity. Your presence has a similar effect on people. You illuminate what has been hidden, and not everyone is ready for that level of visibility. Some will project their discomfort onto you, confusing their own unresolved fears with your presence. But just as the sun does not apologize for rising, you are not meant to shrink yourself to make others more comfortable. The right people, those who resonate with your soul's frequency, will be drawn to you naturally, recognizing and celebrating the authenticity you embody. In moments where this contrast feels overwhelming, self-care becomes your sanctuary. Think of yourself as a vessel of divine energy, constantly pouring out light and love. If you do not take time to refill your own cup, to nurture your own spirit, you risk running on empty. This is why prioritizing rest, creative expression, and grounding practices is essential right now. Protect your peace like a sacred garden, allowing only those who approach with respect and appreciation to step inside. It is not selfish to set boundaries. It is an act of self-honoring, an affirmation of your worth. And while the mind may seek external validation, your deepest truth lies within. Your intuition is your compass, a guiding star that never wavers, even when the world around you shifts. If anxiety has been creeping in, especially around communication, trust that clarity will come in divine timing. Sometimes, silence holds more meaning than words, and what is meant to be spoken will find its way into the physical realm when the energy is aligned. In the meantime, continue to stand boldly in your authenticity. Your presence alone is a force of transformation, and whether or not others understand it, the universe does. You are here to be exactly who you are, nothing less, and certainly nothing dimmer. Memories have a way of lingering like the scent of a familiar perfume, sudden, uninvited, yet unmistakably real. Right now, someone is caught in the echoes of past moments with you, especially the simple yet electric instances of physical touch. A brush of the hands, a passing glance that carried unspoken words, or the warmth of your presence beside them. These sensations aren't just memories to them. They are imprints, reminders of something that once felt effortlessly natural. But what was once second nature now feels like a distant dream, out of reach yet impossible to forget. It's as if they are reaching for something in the dark, only to grasp at empty air, realizing too late what has been lost in the silence. This silence isn't just about words left unsaid. It's about an energy gap, an absence that lingers like a song abruptly cut off mid-melody. When two souls are so deeply intertwined, communication doesn't always need words, but when the connection grows quiet, the void can feel deafening. There's a tension here, a push and pull that neither of you can fully escape. They may not be speaking to you in the physical realm, but energetically, they're still reaching for you, revisiting memories like a well-worn book, searching for meaning between the lines. Even if time or distance separates you, your presence is still felt, like a shadow following them in the quiet moments of the day. And yet, despite this deep remembrance, something holds them back. Perhaps it's fear, ego, or the weight of their own unresolved emotions. One person in this connection is more open about their longing, while the other keeps it tucked away like a secret they're not ready to admit, even to themselves. It's like standing at the edge of the ocean, watching the waves pull away, while knowing, inevitably, they must return. There's a quiet ache here, an unspoken yearning that neither of you fully knows how to bridge right now. What makes this even more profound is the energetic mirroring between you. Just as twin flames or deeply connected souls feel each other's emotions across distance, this person is sensing your shifts even when they try to ignore it. If you've been feeling restless, nostalgic, or even experiencing physical sensations that don't seem to have a clear cause, there's a good chance it's linked to them. Whether through dreams, random thoughts, or sudden emotional waves, the connection is still very much alive, pulsing beneath the surface like an ember that refuses to go out. But while one of you is more willing to acknowledge this bond, the other is grappling with an inner void. They may not have the words for it, but there's a sense of incompleteness, like something essential is missing. It's not just about longing for you. It's about recognizing that their current path lacks the depth and meaning they crave. The energy of envy appearing suggests that they're looking outward, perhaps comparing their life to yours, feeling as though you've found a clarity or purpose that they have yet to grasp. Even if they don't fully understand why they feel this way, they can sense that something within them is unsettled. And whether they realize it yet or not, that feeling is guiding them back toward alignment, toward something real, something true. The divine masculine is standing at a crossroads, feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing down on them like a thick fog. Life, as they've known it, no longer holds the same sense of fulfillment. It's as if they've been walking a familiar path, only to suddenly realize that it leads nowhere, or at least not where their soul truly wants to go. This sensation of stagnation can be frustrating, even disheartening, like waiting for a seed to sprout while seeing no visible signs of growth. But just because they can't see the change doesn't mean it isn't happening. Beneath the surface, powerful transformations are unfolding, shifting their inner world in ways that will soon manifest externally. The World card appearing upright signals that their spiritual awareness is expanding, whether they realize it or not. Imagine being inside a house with the curtains drawn. Everything feels dim and confined, but outside, the sun is rising, and the world is vast, waiting to be seen. The divine masculine is beginning to sense this greater expanse beyond their immediate surroundings, even if they don't yet know how to step into it. This is why so many aspects of their current life, work, relationships, even their sense of purpose, may feel unsteady or unfulfilling. It's not that their world is falling apart, it's that their soul is outgrowing the limitations of their past self. This energy of expansion is both exhilarating and intimidating. On one hand, there's a deep, unconscious knowing that something greater awaits them. On the other hand, the fear of stepping into the unknown is holding them back. This is where the reversed cornucopia card comes in, reflecting the doubt creeping into their mind. When manifestations seem delayed, it's easy to assume that nothing is working out, that they've been abandoned by fate or left behind by those who seem to be thriving. But this is an illusion, much like mist covering a mountain. The peak is still there, even if they can't see it clearly yet. The divine masculine is being asked to trust the unseen, to believe that the energy they are cultivating within will soon ripple outward into their physical reality. The blossoming abundance card, appearing upright, is a sign that growth is already happening, even if it's not yet visible. It's like a tree in early spring. Though the branches may still seem bare, deep within, life is stirring, and the first buds are preparing to bloom. The key is to remain patient and not let temporary setbacks convince them that their efforts are in vain. However, the reversed goddess of the moon suggests that intuition is being blocked, or perhaps ignored. Instead of surrendering to the flow of divine timing, the divine masculine may be resisting, trying to control or rationalize a process that isn't meant to be micromanaged. This is a time to embrace the unknown, to lean into faith rather than fear. Their higher self is guiding them, whispering that even in the silence, even in the in-between moments, something powerful is taking shape. They are not stuck, they are evolving, and soon they will see just how far they've come. The divine feminine's heart is like a garden that has been carefully tended, even through seasons of solitude and uncertainty. For so long, she has nurtured her inner world, planting seeds of self-love, healing old wounds, and learning to embrace her worthiness. And now, just like the first green shoots pushing through the soil after a long winter, love is preparing to bloom in her life. The energy surrounding her is shifting, and even if she can't see all the changes unfolding yet, her soul feels it, like the way the air smells before a storm, or how dawn hints at its arrival long before the sun appears on the horizon. The Caring Connections card, appearing upright, is a beautiful confirmation that love, in its highest and most harmonious form, is on its way. Whether this connection manifests as a rekindling of something familiar or the arrival of someone entirely new, the divine feminine is stepping into an era where she will no longer feel so alone. It's as if she has spent years painting a masterpiece, carefully layering brushstrokes of growth, patience, and self-discovery. And now, that work is culminating in something breathtaking, love that truly reflects the depth of who she has become. Her guides are reminding her that this isn't just about romance. It's about the kind of soul-deep connection that aligns effortlessly with her energy, whether in friendships, partnerships, or divine companionships. However, frustration may still creep in from time to time, especially when it feels like the divine masculine's transformation is happening in slow motion, or worse, invisible altogether. It's like watching a caterpillar retreat into its cocoon. On the outside, it looks like nothing is happening, but inside, an extraordinary metamorphosis is underway. The divine feminine is being reminded not to mistake this period of stillness for stagnation. Just as she has gone through her own seasons of change, so too must the divine masculine navigate his own awakening in his own way, in his own time. The best thing she can do now is to trust in the divine timing of it all and continue to anchor herself in the love she has cultivated within. The Sun card, resting on the heart chakra, is a radiant message that her heart is open and ready for a new beginning. This is the energy of warmth, clarity, and renewal, like stepping into the light after walking through a long, dark tunnel. The loneliness she once felt is dissipating, replaced by an unshakable knowing that she is meant for deep, fulfilling love. The universe is aligning her with people who will mirror back to her the love she has learned to give herself. Right now, she is in the final strokes of this masterpiece, adding the final touches to the energy she has so beautifully cultivated. The question is no longer if love will arrive, but when. And that when is much sooner than she thinks. Her heart is the canvas, and love is the masterpiece unfolding before her eyes. For so long, divine feminine, you may have felt like a bird with wings too wide for the cage you found yourself in. You weren't meant to live in limitation, yet in past relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or even within family dynamics, you may have felt the pressure to clip your own wings just to keep the peace, just to fit in. It's as if your soul was playing a grand symphony, but those around you only wanted a simple tune. Over time, you learned to quiet your melody, to soften your brilliance, just to remain connected to those who weren't ready to hear the full depth of your song. But here's the truth. You were never meant to shrink yourself for the comfort of others. You were meant to shine, to expand, to embody the fullness of who you truly are. The shift you're sensing now, the excitement in the air, the feeling that something is on the horizon, is because you are no longer willing to exist in spaces where your light is dimmed. You've spent time alone, perhaps feeling misunderstood, like a lone star in a sky that felt too empty. But what if this solitude wasn't a punishment? What if it was the universe clearing the stage for something greater? Just as a flower doesn't question why it must be buried beneath the soil before it blooms, you are now beginning to see the purpose behind this phase of isolation. You weren't meant to fade into the background. You were meant to be seen in the fullness of your light. For many, this feeling of restriction was deeply tied to a divine masculine energy. This connection, whether a twin flame or a profound soulmate bond, carried an intensity that felt both exhilarating and confining. It was as if your souls recognized each other across lifetimes, yet in the 3D world, something was misaligned. He may have been hesitant to step into his own growth, caught in karmic cycles, or resisting the call of his own expansion. And because of the depth of your connection, you may have found yourself holding back as well, afraid that if you continued to rise, you would leave him behind. This is one of the great paradoxes of love, wanting to stay connected while also yearning to soar. But here's where everything shifts. You are no longer waiting for permission to be who you are. You are no longer dimming your light in hopes that another will catch up. The love that is entering your life now, whether it's a renewed connection or something entirely new, will meet you at your level. You are stepping into a space where your authenticity is not only accepted, but celebrated. The people coming into your life now will see you for who you truly are, without asking you to shrink or explain yourself. This is the beginning of something beautiful, something expansive. The restrictions of the past are falling away, and what's left is pure, unfiltered, radiant you. And that, divine feminine, is exactly what the world has been waiting for. Divine feminine, you're stepping into a chapter where everything is aligning, Not because you're chasing after it, but because you've finally surrendered to your own growth. Imagine yourself as a lighthouse standing tall on the shore. You no longer strain to pull ships toward you, yet the right ones naturally find their way to your light. In the past, you may have bent, shifted, and contorted yourself to fit into someone else's version of love, friendship, or connection. You may have thought that by holding on to certain relationships, especially those tied to a past masculine energy, you could somehow shape them into what you longed for. But now, something has changed. You are no longer looking outside yourself for belonging. Instead, you are fully committed to your own expansion, and in doing so, you're calling in those who truly resonate with your soul. This shift is powerful, and while it is bringing you closer to authentic connections, it is also rippling outward, affecting the masculine energy connected to you. Just as the sun rises, illuminating everything in its path, your growth is casting light on areas within the divine masculine that he can no longer ignore. If he once felt comfortable in old cycles, numbing himself with distractions or clinging to outdated beliefs, that comfort is now slipping away. Your elevation is energetically nudging him toward a choice: to remain where he is, or to step into his own expansion. The indecision card reflects this moment of hesitation as he stands at a crossroads, sensing the pull toward transformation, but feeling uncertain about the unknown. What's interesting is that this isn't just about one person. Your soul's growth is creating waves in the collective consciousness. As you choose authenticity over conformity, joy over obligation, and expansion over limitation, you are rewriting the energetic script. Other souls, whether divine counterparts or kindred spirits, are being drawn into this new reality you are manifesting. You may already be noticing this shift. Unexpected moments of deep connection with strangers, serendipitous encounters, or even a growing sense that you are not as alone as you once believed. This is because you've reached a point where you no longer need to seek. Instead, you magnetize. If loneliness has been a lingering shadow in your past, know that this is the moment it begins to dissolve. The right people are finding you now, not because you're chasing them, but because your soul is emitting a frequency that can no longer be ignored. Friendships, soul connections, and even love are unfolding in a way that feels natural, effortless, and deeply fulfilling. This is your reward for choosing yourself first, for walking away from what drained you, and for standing firm in the light of your own truth. And the most beautiful part? You're just getting started. To wrap things up, let's draw one final card from the Rumi Oracle deck. The card that has come through for us today is Let Love Transform, carrying the powerful energy of the number 14. Interestingly, this number surfaced earlier when we spoke about the beautiful, harmonious soul connection you are aligning with. Divine Feminine. An undeniable synchronicity that beautifully weaves this reading together. Let's take a moment to reflect on this profound passage from the guidebook. The spring of love arrives to transform the dust into a garden. The call is heard from the heavens to bid the wings of soul to fly. The sea becomes filled with pearls, the dry land receives the water of life, the stone becomes ruby, and the body becomes all soul. Grooming love is my medicine, intelligent medicine. It takes death and makes it a passageway into greater life. What genius is this? A genius that renders anything and everything as a pathway to life. This oracle is a divine gift, a reminder of just how far you've come. Whether you fully see it yet or not, you have triumphed. You have shed old layers, released what no longer serves you, and stepped fully into the embrace of love. Pure, transformative, limitless love. And now, You are being welcomed into a reality where love always finds a way. So what does this mean for you? It signifies that a powerful pathway to divine fulfillment has opened. Your soul's deepest desires are on the verge of manifesting. You are being gifted the ability to step into spiritual success, but there is one key, one universal law to fully align with this energy: the law of love. And what does that entail? It means surrendering the need to control the how and when of your manifestations. Why place limits on love's infinite intelligence? Trust that it will unfold in the most beautiful, divinely orchestrated way, beyond anything your mind could design. Release rigid expectations and timelines. Absolute trust is the key. Wow, this is undoubtedly one of the most profound messages we've ever received from the Rumi Oracle deck. As I always say, these readings are a co-creation, woven together by the collective energy of each of you tuning in, whether in this moment or at any time in the future, because energy knows no bounds. Before we close, I just want to take a moment to express my deepest gratitude. Your presence, your energy, and your light make this space what it is. We are all part of the same soul family, and I truly appreciate the beautiful frequency we continue to create together. If this reading resonated with you and you feel called to support the channel, I invite you to donate as a way of sharing your energy in return. A portion of all donations, 70%, goes toward providing food for children in need and supporting the education of orphans. You can donate via the PayPal link in the description or through Super Thanks. Even the smallest act of generosity can create waves of impact. For those of you looking to dive even deeper, consider joining our community. Click the Join button to explore membership options and unlock exclusive perks, behind-the-scenes content, and special access to our growing soul family. And of course, if this reading spoke to your heart, let me know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe to Magnetize Official to stay connected and continue this journey with us. Sending you all so much love, and I will see you in the next reading.